A rough couple of afternoons over the weekend has a storm brewing in oil country. Can the team quiet the skies down in Tampa? We get you set for the Oilers and the Lightning on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you. We'll be joined by our game analyst, Matt Kassian, in a little bit, as well as Eduardo Encina to give us the scoop on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Eduardo coming at us from the Tampa Bay Times, of course. GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Join the conversation. Get into the text line 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat if you're watching on YouTube. Nancito, I'm coming at you from the home studios. I'm not feeling too good, and I hear you're not doing too good under the weather, but you're back at EST Global HQ. How you doing today, outside of you telling me you're not feeling too good right now?
As good as it can get for now. Yeah, just about minutes before our show, I started feeling something, and heavily medicated right now, so feeling a lot better.
Oh, good.
And
a little buzz?
And hopefully this is not something that goes into tomorrow. But it's that time of year, right, Tommy?
It is.
I was active on the weekend too. We had a lot of things to do, so I was around a lot of people. So, I think we're both not 100% right now, and hopefully the Oilers lose because Hernan might not even be awake for the post-game show.
Jeez. You know what? No better time than now to snap a 3-game losing streak, especially after a horrendous weekend for the Oilers. And yes, lots to talk about today going into this one. New line combinations, not a surprise, to be honest with you. Stu Skinner back between the pipes. That shouldn't be a surprise, as much noise as there has been around the goaltending these past couple of days. A chance for this group to atone, and for the most part this season, like the last couple of days, Hernan, I would say like they're in a better spot than they were last year. The points wise, I think they're pretty much spot on the same. I think it's one less win this year, but 2 more OT losses. They are in striking distance of first in the division. Oh, yeah. They have been much better at putting an end to any extended losing streaks. That's a sign of consistency. So that was my rationale talking about this team, especially yesterday, because I know a lot of people are like, this team's not going to win. You play like that. Absolutely. To those that were saying, if this team continues to play like they did on the weekend, they're not going to win against San Jose when San Jose shows up at the end of the season, man. Like that was terrible the way the team played. I think to a man, they would tell you that. I think they know that they have to be better. And it's unfortunate that it has trickled over past from the games prior to the Four Nations face-off. But bottom line is they need to get their heads out of their you-know-whats and put a good 60 minutes together. They're capable. That's something they've also proven. That's part of their MO. We'll see if they're able to do it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been good. These 2 games over the weekend were terrible. No one got a pass. In Philadelphia, I gave a pass to, I think, Leon and Emberson and Savoy. Sure. I think we both did. But Sunday's game, no one could sit there and look in the mirror and be like, I was good. I did my job, because no one did. That's why I'm very intrigued in it. And I call this a big game. I do, Tom. And I know sometimes I'm a little dramatic, but I think
I like it.
Ahead of the deadline, like I know we're going to get to it. I'm kind of surprised Klingberg and Jeff Skinner are out. Or I'm not surprised. I just don't like it. Like, you got to know what you have. And maybe they do. Maybe their mind's made up. I don't get it. But just to get Stetcher in there for what? I mean, sure, he's a 7'6" defenseman. He hasn't been bad. He hasn't been great. But, I mean, John Klingberg, you brought in for a reason, to be in your top 6 and to play. And then he's sitting out. Now, we don't know if it's maybe he's a little banged up or maybe the hip's acting up. We don't know that yet. So I don't want to be too harsh on that. But, yeah, that's why I think tonight's a big game. I think, one, it's big for Stuart Skinner. He has to have a good game. Listen, goals are going to happen, Tom, and he'll probably let one in today. I'm going to be looking at his body language because it's been very noticeable as of late with Stuart Skinner. On the other side,
you mentioned that yesterday and today, I think,
the 18 skaters, man, you got to show something. You got to show that you're engaged. You got to show intensity, physicality. Like, you better be ready to go in this game. There's no more excuses. So for me, it's one of those things where, Knobloch keeps messing with the lines. He's probably going to go nuclear at one point tonight, so it doesn't really matter. But I just can't get over Jeff Skinner being out. And we're not talking about an elite of the elite forwards and, oh, my God, how is he sitting out? But, Tom, look at the numbers. Since 2025 kicked off, he's been one of the more consistent forwards with minimal ice time. Minimal.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you brought him here to score goals. He does that last game. His line had a couple good shifts. He probably could have had two. And you sit him out? And Yammer kills penalties. Penalty kill sucks. Who cares?
The penalty kill is 5 for 13 in the last 6 games. That's 8 goals allowed in those 6. It has dropped. I was surprised it didn't drop further down. It's still, I think, 26th. I'll double check the stats. I was going over it for my show prep, but I was just looking at Jeff Skinner here. Skinner, since the calendar flipped, like you said, Hernan, an assist, a goal, an assist, a 3-game point streak going in to start out 2025. Got scratched for 3 games. Nothing. Then a goal on January 25th, another goal on January 30th, and then a goal and assist February 5th, an assist February 7th, and then a goal on February 23rd, which was Sunday. So he's put together a nice stretch here. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points for a guy that has been a healthy scratch and has played limited minutes since the calendar flipped over to 2025, and he is going to be scratched today. Okay, Matt Kassian's just about ready to go. Nanso, do you want to throw out a question of the night, or do you want to save it?
No, I do.
Okay, let's go for it.
We talked about it a lot yesterday, but we didn't get to throw it to the pre- and post-game listeners and viewers. Of course, they're all the same, but nonetheless. There's 5 games left for the Edmonton Oilers before the deadline. Gager and I said he should play 4, even 5 of the next 5 games. What say you? How many games do you give Skinner? Because, and this is not if he's bad, they're going to trade him. No, but it's, like Gager said, it's time for him to get going here. There's no back-to-backs. Let him know he's your guy, and you're going to play if you lose the game. So I want to know, how many games would you play him here in the next 5? Now, obviously, one's today.
Yep.
But I want to hear from our Nasties or on the inbox 780-218-9999.
Let's take a look at the game calendar. So you've got tonight, you've got Thursday night in Florida. You could give them that one. Then you get Saturday in Carolina. You come home for 1, come home for 3, pardon me. But the first one is against Anaheim on Tuesday. The Habs on Thursday. You wrap it up with Dallas on Saturday. I would honestly, if you wanna kick it into stretch drive mode, and I think Joaquin, and this was Joaquin who brought it up yesterday, but you were playing off of it a bit. If you want to say, okay, Stu, shape up, or else you're going to force us to make a move, which they don't want to do, then I think you could give them all of these starts except for Anaheim. I go get it.
But Tom, I don't think it's so much for a trade. I truly don't. It's just to get his mojo back.
I don't think so either.
It's like
I don't think they're making a trade either, Hernan.
Yeah, we're going to give you Tampa. We're going to give you Florida. We'll give you Carolina. Then next week, sure, you'll get one of the 2 games before the deadline off, right? Because it's Wednesday, Friday. No, it's Tuesday, Thursday. Friday, they have an off day, but it's the deadline. Yeah. So it's like, just let him battle through it, man. If he has a bad game tonight, put him back in Florida. Yeah. Let him. He's going to, and it's a long shot, but you never say never, but he's going to be your guy if they don't go out and get a goalie. There's nothing else. He's your guy. It's not Pickard. Sorry.
You're right. To all those that will be like, his numbers are bad. His averages, yes, expected,
that's
whatever,
true,
saves
though.
after.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, they are, but defense has been bad all season. The team in its own zone has been a mess. In the neutral zone, it was awful this past weekend. That has led to like some really bad numbers for both goalies. Anyway, text us 780-218-9999. I'm going to get to starting lineups and injury report before we get into Game Changers with Matt Kassian. Your starting lineups, of course, brought to you by Southport Chev. Reserve your 2025 Equinox Trax and Traverse now. They won't last long. They've also got the best discounts on 2025 Silverados and won't be beat. See dealer for details, www.southportchev.com. For the Oilers, McDavid between Arvidsson and Hyman. Much better right there. Much better than Podkolzin and Kapanen like we saw on Sunday. What a weird experiment. Obviously didn't work. Draisaitl between Podkolzin and Savoy. Okay. RNH between Janmark, who draws back in, and Connor Brown. Adam Henrique between Kapanen and Perry. A lot of veteran depth on that forward unit.
Yeah.
On defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, like Hernan was alluding to, and then Kulak with Emberson. John Klingberg is a scratch. The only thing I could think of is like he played good on Saturday, right? He was one of the few bright spots, like you said, Hernan, against the Flyers. And then Sunday, everybody was bad. Maybe they could have sat him out for that one to kind of let him catch up a little bit, let his body heal up and be ready for tonight, so to speak. But that's not the case. He is out tonight, and Jeff Skinner is the other scratch. As for the Lightning, this is what we're anticipating from them today. They're going 11-7, sounds like. Braden Point with Jake Gensel and Nikita Kucherov, Anthony Cirelli with Brendan Hagel and Zemgus Girgensons, Nick Paul between Mitchell Chaffee and Gage Goncalves, Michael Isamont with Luke Glendening, and then your 7 defensemen for the Lightning, Victor Hedman with J.J. Moser, Ryan McDonough with Eric Chernak, Emil Lilleberg with Darren Radish, and then Nick Perbix draws in. Sounds like no Cam Atkinson for the Lightning. In goal today, 26-year-old Stu Skinner, 20-13-4 is his record, 281 GAA, 898 save percentage, 2 shutouts in the 38 games he's played this season. Skinner versus the Lightning, a 1-2 record, 377 GAA, 836 save percentage in the 3 appearances versus Tampa in his career. And then at the other end of the rink, he is one of the elites, no doubt about it. It is 30-year-old Andrei Vasilevsky, who is 26-15-3, 229 GAA, 920 save percentage, 3 shutouts in 44 games this season. People in oil country going, ooh, 229 and 920. That looks pretty nice. Yes, it does. Vasilevsky versus Edmonton, a 6-4 record, 314 GAA, 909 save percentage in 10 games against Edmonton in his career. And then that brings us to the Advantage Sports Medicine Physiotherapy Injury Report, where they treat you like the pros. Their multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you'd like to see go away, book your consultation today at www.advantagesportsmed.ca. For Edmonton, nothing new. Alec Regula, IR knee. Evander Kane, LTIR abdominal surgery and knee surgery. He is skating now, which is good. Tampa Bay, Jonas Johansson, their backup goalie, is day-to-day with a lower body issue. All right, we ready to bring in Cass? I would say yes. Hernan, don't give me that look.
Yeah, he's ready.
He's ready?
Yeah.
Is Koob ready?
Yeah, I am ready.
All right, bring him in.
Over.
Let's bring in our game analyst, Matt Kassian, for Game Changers. Cass, how are you this evening? I hope you're the only guy on this show right now, outside of Koob, that isn't ill like me and Hernan.
Yeah, I managed to avoid that so far. So yeah, I'm good for now, fellas. So I'll try to bring the energy, try to pick you up a little bit, make you feel good, and hopefully raise the spirits of all the Oilers fans that have been falling apart for the last couple of days.
My goodness, have they ever lost their spirits? All right, Nat, so do you want to start with the question of the night? You want to float it to Cass?
Sure, Cass. There's 5 games, including tonight, remaining before the trade deadline next Friday. How many games did you play Stuart Skinner? There's no back-to-backs. You get a nice kind of a weekend break as well, a couple days off there. How many games would you play him in?
He's getting 4 to 5.
Yeah.
4 to 5. Like probably not the Anaheim game.
Yeah.
But I got to think he's playing the rest, right? Like, going to play today. You're going to play him against Florida. You're probably going to play him against Carolina. Then it's a couple days break. If he doesn't play that Anaheim game, that's a 4-day break for him where he's going to have a chance to recover and then play again against Montreal. So yeah, he's playing 4 to 5, fellas. And I know there's people that are going to be like, "Ooh, how could you play him 4 to 5?" But that's what's going to happen. And they're not showcasing him for a trade. There is not. Well, I shouldn't say not. It's not like there's 0 possibility that they trade for goalie, but there's like 0.01% possibility they do.
Yeah, and you saw the Ville Husso trade, future considerations, swap between Detroit and Anaheim yesterday. Frank Saravalli put it out there that there's no plan to trade Gibson, or doesn't look like they're going to do that because they need goalies in the Anaheim system. They've got a ton of guys who are injured. So that kind of quashes a couple of potential guys that I know have popped up in our text line in the nasty chat over the last couple of weeks, people say, go get Husso, go get Gibson. That kind of takes care of both of those, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, and Husso for future considerations. I mean, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Like, you want to tell me Edmonton, if they were interested, wouldn't have sent like a 6th-round pick?
Right.
Or something to try to pick a guy up instead of future considerations, but there probably was nothing out there. You want to bet that Bowman's phone didn't ring about Husso? It absolutely did. And Gibson, I mean, that was, people just kind of created that, I feel, here in this market. I don't think there ever was a really real legitimate shot at Edmonton bringing him in barring an injury to Pickard or Skinner. Then maybe, but without an injury, there is no chance. So yeah, it puts a damper on a lot of that, which won't sate the appetite nor the vitriol of many Oilers fans, but you're going to have to deal with it, everybody. You will have to deal with it. This is your goaltending duo. This is your tandem. You might as well make some peace with that right now, although I know that there are going to be many of you who will not.
Some anxious people out in oil country today after that. Okay, Ryan from Sask says, Oilers neutral zone play needs to improve the most. Puck management, quick transitions, coverage against the rush, and for expletive's sake, someone throw a bloody hit. Ryan sums it up nicely as we now casually go into Game Changers with Cass, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He is community driven and understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. So check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Number one tonight, Cass, puck management. You heard Ryan from Sask echo what you're bringing up.
That was a great message, Ryan from Sask. I was just like, yeah, that's it sums it up really nice in a nice little package there. And I would absolutely have to agree that puck management, particularly in the neutral zone, if we go back to these 2 games coming out of the break, was just atrocious. Now, game 1, I don't want to say you give them a pass. First game back out of a break, you're going to try to find your tempo and rhythm and all that. It's a morning game. It's a little weird. Okay. But they were pretty horrible in the neutral zone in that game against Washington, and puck management was a huge part of it, where there was unforced errors, unforced turnovers, trying to force plays through the neutral zone in particular, offensive and defensive zone. I mean, it was really all 3 zones, but the neutral zone in particular, where their puck management just wasn't very good, wasn't good at the blue lines, wasn't good at their own blue line, wasn't good at the offensive blue line. And that immediately is something you have to sort out. Like you cannot, so much of the game is actually played possession-wise in the neutral zone. A lot of the game is spending that time in between zones and moving the puck through there. They have not been efficient, nor have they executed cleanly. And that, Tom, to me, heading into this game against Tampa, not that Tampa is like a world beater, all-star, best team in the world like they used to be. They're still a really good team. But teams like that have players that can beat you in transition, and they have players that can beat you in transition. They feast off of turnovers in the neutral zone. For the Edmonton Oilers, it has to be a concern, a talking point, video coaching, whatever you want to call it. It has to be something that's addressed. Is there sloppy play in the neutral zone, and the puck management through that area of the ice? Absolutely huge key for them tonight is to clean up that neutral zone and just be better through there, guys. Just be better. Execute. Don't turn the bloody puck over at the blue line.
Cass, what did you make of Knobloch's comments after watch? I don't know if you saw him, but it was to the point where he was asked, like, yeah, but this team can turn it on at any point. And Knobloch looked at the reporter and said, well, I don't like that either. Like, that's not a recipe for success. We want to play tonight, we'll turn it on. Like, that's not good. Knowing you can do it, sure. But if that's the mentality, it's terrible.
No, you don't want to have that mentality. You want to be on all the time. The best teams are on, we'll call it 9 games out of 10. And that last 10%, 1 in 10, well, yeah, they have an off night, because you will have off nights. Even really good teams, generally, you're going to have an off night at some point. But what you don't want is that complacency. And that's the type of the attitude that's dangerous for this team, because we've seen how they've been at the start of some games, or many games, right, where they're flat off the start. And some of that mentality, I think, creeps in, even if they wouldn't necessarily vocalize it, Hernan. That's a danger. And when you have the elite talent that Edmonton has, that is a real danger, is that complacency to be like, we can get back into this one. well, we can turn it on. And it's true. Yes, you can. But the better strategy, and Knoblauch would agree, is just do that from the start of the game when the puck drops. Let's say maybe in the first 3 seconds is to turn it on and be ready to go. And part of the problem in that Washington game too is they had some okay shifts early on, but then they just completely faltered and fell apart. So it's a bigger thing than that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you don't want to be a group. And we don't want the Edmonton Oilers as fans and in the media and people that are rooting for them to win. We don't want to see them have to turn it on. We just want to see it on all the time or most of the time.
I think that sums it up really well. And I don't blame Knoblauch one bit for not liking that. That's being too full of yourself, in my opinion. A Cass and Nanso, we did get a text that said, why do we make excuses for the Oilers coming out of the break? Every other team had to come out of the break and they didn't stumble. Like, I don't know if the texter, no name on the text, if it's in regard to like us at EST or us on the pre and post game show, but I feel like we haven't let them off the hook for a bad couple of games. Like, I was talking to Jess Jackson from the Bear today, and she said, is that one of those situations for the weekend where you just flush it and forget about it? And I was like, nope, not this one.
No, maybe the first one. And maybe that's what the texter with no name is referencing to, is to how I said, you maybe give him a little bit of a pass on the sloppiness in the first game. Maybe that's what, but it's, again, that like a little bit of a pass. And, if they played a really great game against Washington, then you flush it.
Okay.
Right. Then you're like, okay, we'll move on. But it's like, well, no, this was 2 games in a row back to back. And yes, other teams had to deal with it too. Yes. Philadelphia had to deal with that morning game coming out of the break too. Washington had to deal with that morning game too. Like, the other teams had to deal with it. So ultimately, no, I mean, I haven't heard anybody make an excuse. Like, I understand if there is some sloppiness to their game in that first game back, just the first one. I understand that to an extent. But overall, it wasn't Washington and the Philly game. Both of those, they weren't games that you just lost because you're sloppy and getting back into a rhythm, right? Like, that's not how they lost those games. And so I don't know. I haven't heard anybody give them a free pass. We're certainly not. If we came across that way, not how we're trying to come across, giving them a pass.
I just wanted to hit on that one because I saw it. I was like, wait, I don't think anybody's letting them off the hook, because they were just 2 stinkers. And sometimes you could go, all right, flush it, forget about it. But no, not with the way they're playing. So I think you summed that up nicely, Cass. All right. It is Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Gazzola and Salas with you as well. Ice Koob behind the monitors, making sure everything's running smoothly. You can text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Point number 2 tonight, Cass, Hard Arvidsson.
What version are we going to see today? I know you love, Tommy, you were ecstatic about Arvidsson being bumped up to the top line, playing with Connor McDavid. And yes, probably a better fit than the line mates he had in the game against Washington, which, I don't know if I really understood that one either. But hey, here's a guy we've talked about, needs to find his game. And realistically, Jeff Skinner has outplayed him in recent weeks. He has outplayed him in recent weeks, yet it's Jeff Skinner that's out of the lineup. And I don't know if I love that he's been out of the lineup, because he's actually been playing quite well. But I digress. Doesn't matter. The decision has been made that this is what your lineup's going to be to start. And for Victor Arvidsson, I mean, I was so hoping, guys, that the Four Nations would spark him, that it would invigorate him, that it would, the opportunity to play for his country and play with, people from his country would just, kind of just fill up the tank and the emotional tank, as it were. And we haven't seen it these 2 games, and we haven't seen it really for a while. But a huge opportunity for him to play with Connor McDavid, who himself has, comparatively to Connor McDavid that we're used to seeing, has not been great. I mean, he's still the best player in the world, and him on an off night is still better than almost everybody. But he has not been playing the way he would like to play when he's been wearing the Edmonton Oilers sweater. And for Arvidsson, I think it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get in there, to dig pucks, to play that hard game that we have seen in the past, but we haven't seen consistently this year. So a huge key to this game, guys, is how Arvidsson competes and plays with Connor McDavid, if he's going to stay there, or if he does. Now the thing that's going to follow this up is if Arvidsson isn't competing, isn't playing well, is I don't know how long he lasts on that line and how fast we go to the blender. Now, if he does, well, I'm hoping it will launch him into actually playing better and we see some success from that group. But yeah, a huge night and a huge opportunity, even if it's undeserved, for Victor Arvidsson to hopefully bust out of a shell and do something here. Give us something. Give us some life. Give us some kind of juice. Give us something playing with Connor McDavid. Go dig pucks out. Get around the net. Be that feisty, nasty, annoying, scrappy player that we saw with the LA Kings, not the kind of
perimeter. He's been perimeter.
Perimeter. There you go.
Shoots
perimeter
from everywhere, but it does nothing. Yeah.
Yep.
Cass, you played the game and you played in the NHL. When it comes to line shuffling as consistent as Knobloch does it, like as a player, Cass, did you like that? Like, is it something players like, or would you kind of look at it as it's a player by player basis?
I think it's a player by player basis. I never cared because I didn't get shuffled. I just played in the fourth line. So I knew if I was playing where I was playing, and I was just kind of, I don't care who, throw me out there with ever. Like, it doesn't matter. Get me on the ice. I don't care who it's with. Just put me out there with somebody, anybody, just put me on the ice. Some players react to it differently. I think for McDavid and Draisaitl, they've been around enough and had it happen enough that it's not like it overly frustrates them. With that being said, what you see a lot of modern players enjoying and liking is having one wing, if they're a centerman, that's flex, that someone's kind of rotating in and they'll have different looks, and one player that's a little more consistent. Now, we saw it all last year, with like McDavid and Hyman, for example, where it's like, you rotated some other players through, but those two were kind of paired together the whole time. If you weren't rotating to McDavid and Draisaitl together, and you kind of see the same at times with Leon Draisaitl. With him, and we've seen it a little bit like with Podkolzin this year, for example, where he seems to mesh okay typically with Draisaitl, so they kind of generally stay together a little bit more. So it really is a player-to-player basis. Some guys don't mind it as much as others. And the one thing that you're always in danger of if in a game, and I would say it matters less if you're doing it outside of practice or outside of games. Like if you run into practice and you're running with a different group, I don't think guys, for the most part, they're fine with it, or they have the ability to deal with it and mentally do it. Where it can have issues is in game if everything's changing every single shift, because it's just your focus then goes from just being focused on the game and what you're doing to having to over focus or spend too much of your attention on what's going on behind you with the coaching staff, because it's not just McDavid's line, or because it'd just be like Davo's line. Right. And then you go, but it's like, well, if you don't know who's on the line, well, all of a sudden now you're having to have an extra ear listening to who's that. And, you could argue it creates or doesn't, or may create too many men penalties, which isn't as much the issue. It's more of a mentally, what are you focusing on? Are you thinking about the game? Or are you just worried about who you're playing with because you have no idea who's going out next and trying to figure that out? So it is a player by player basis, but it can cause some confusion and some mental angst just with the extra focus it takes when things are switching so frequently inside of a game.
Every game, almost every period, and we just expect it now. All right. It's Game Changers with Matt Kassian, Gazzola and Salas with you. Ice Koob producing today's pregame show. We do have the final half hour of the Reid Wilkins Show following the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Eduardo Encina will be joining us from the Tampa Bay Times in about 5 minutes. That brings us to point number 3 on Game Changers tonight. Cass, show up.
Do I even need to say anything to this one? Like, show up.
Please.
Give us something. Give us some life. Give us a full game. And I'm kind of hopeful, guys, that we do see them show up tonight. I mean, I think they're aware that the last 2 games were not good enough. That you got spanked. You let Ovi get a hat trick, which, heading into that one, I know because I didn't do the pre and post, but I was kind of hoping, I'm like, I want Edmonton to win 4-3 or 5-3 and Ovi to get a hat trick. Like, that would have been the prime for me. Like, I would have loved to see the hat trick. Still want the Edmonton Oilers to win. But you got spanked twice. You got to think your pride is feeling a little bit. And I'm really hoping, especially with the quality of the opponent, because you're not going up against the Chicago here. Like, you're not going up against the bottom feeder team where you're like, okay, well, now we're just going to go win. It's like, no, we got to play to win. And we played horrible the last 2, where I am hoping that the pride and the desire to win in that dressing room pulls out their best tonight. And they show up for a full 60. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. Right. I hope it's happened. I lean towards that happening, but they got to show up. That's the bottom line, Tom. They have not shown up for 2 games. They have to show up tonight. Full 60. Let's see it.
Nancito, anything else for Cass?
No, it's good, man. Looking forward to this game.
All right, Cass. I'll read you a couple texts, see if you want to add any thoughts to this. Bad Billy says, I am so sick of the blender, boys. What does this coach have against Skinner? I don't get it. Never seen Hernan without the lid. Don't know who that is. Must win. And then Bad Andy says, how the heck do you pull Skinner, keep 33 in the lineup? It makes 0 sense. And then Hersey, good to hear from Hersey. He says, afternoon, fellas. I agree with they aren't trading for a goalie. I've said this time and time again. They don't have anything to give to get the goalie they want if they want to upgrade for a top 4 D-man and a forward. If they upgrade a D-man and play better defensively, this team can win. It's been done before. I guess that brings me to a thought, Cass, because we still have you for a couple minutes. Klingberg coming out, do you think at this point in his career, do you think it is wear and tear? Or do you think you're trying to send some kind of message? And how much do you really need to keep Troy Stecher involved?
Yeah, it may be a little bit of both. I mean, you have a guy that is coming off of surgery that hadn't played in a year. With that being said, you played it back-to-back after a long break where he would have had recovery time. So is it really that he's banged up and there's wear and tear there? Maybe a little bit, but I kind of lean more towards, you're trying to keep Stecher involved and you still aren't at a place where you are certain with Klingberg and where he's going to fit in. You're still trying to figure it out. So there's a little bit of both going there. You're wanting to keep Stecher involved, and you do want to keep players involved in case someone gets hurt. You want to keep guys fresh so they're not just sitting there for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. At the same time, we were really hoping, as management was, that Klingberg would be the answer on that right side, right? That he would be the guy that would slide in there. And there's been some moments, and there's been some moments. Yeah. It's hard to know for sure because we're not sitting in the trainer's room. We're not in the dressing room. But to me, at appearance or face value, it would be a combination of wanting to keep Stecher involved, and second is you still haven't made that final decision on exactly where Klingberg is going to fit for you for the rest of the season.
Fair point.
Regardless, they need to make a trade for a defenseman.
Yes, Thank you. Exactly. That sums it up nicely. Cass, great stuff as always, my friend. Look forward to catching up with you on the post-game show.
Sounds good, boys.
There you go. There's our game analyst, Matt Kassian with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, awesome guy. He is now with the agency.
The agency.
The agency. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat as well. Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times will be joining us in a minute or two. I was looking through the nasty chat a little bit, Hernan.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you saw that stood out to you? I did get to a few texts, so I think the nasty chat deserves a little bit of love here.
I think a lot of people are just having fun. D-Rock said if Skinner plays 4 of the next 5, they'll go 1-4. So a lot of people taking shots here early on. Some people saying Pickard just hasn't been given the shot to be a number 1, but
he's not a number 1.
He's not a number 1, and just go look at the track record. So. And listen, Tom, Pickard's been great backup, man. I have nothing. Yes. I have no issues with these between the pipes. But until next Friday, maybe, Stuart Skinner's the go-to guy here in Edmonton. And I understand if you don't like it. He hasn't been very good as of late. The numbers on the season are not good. The numbers against top teams are not good. Yeah. So before the deadline, play him. See what he's made of. Now, I know last year he got pulled in Vancouver, set out 2 games, came back, played well. No one wants to give him credit for anything in the playoffs. Yeah, he had some bad games. I'm not sitting here denying that, but he also had some good ones. And I think everybody that played on that team chipped in one way or another. So that's what I mean. With Stuart Skinner, it's either you're all in on the hate or you're all in on the love, and there's a weird in-between there that not many are in right now, but that's why I'm watching the body language today, Tom. When let's say Tampa Bay scores that first goal, regardless of what the score is and what point, I want to see what his body language is. And we do have Eduardo, Tom.
Okay, awesome. We're going to get to Eduardo Encina right away here. Just one final thought on Skinner. If he makes the first 10 saves, I think they're in for a good night. Now, it's been a struggle for him to do that at times this season. And that, to me, would signify what kind of body language we might see from Stu Skinner in goal for the Oilers tonight. All right, joining us now from the Tampa Bay Times, it is Eduardo Encina to give us the scoop on the Lightning. If you have any texts and you want to ask Eduardo a question, hit us up on the text line 780-218-9999. If you're listening live on TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, of course, Amazon Music, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player, hit us up in the text line. And then if you're watching on YouTube, get into the nasty chat. All right, Eduardo joining us now. Eduardo, welcome to the show. Thanks for the time tonight. Really appreciate it. The Oilers have had 2 really bad games coming out of the break. Absolute stinkers. One of our friends and colleagues described it as a speed bag on Saturday and a curb stomp on Sunday, whereas the Lightning are on a 5-game winning streak and haven't lost in regulation in what, their last 7? So give us the scoop on the Lightning right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that the numbers that they're putting up in terms of points kind of speaks for itself. I think, they were at a pretty critical point in their season, to be honest, going into that last week before the break. And especially, they hadn't done very well against teams in their own division. I think they were 3-9 at that point. It had four Atlantic Division opponents staring them right in the face. And they won all 4 games, including a back-to-back in Detroit and Montreal. So that really did well for the confidence. And, it was amazing because they went from, I think a point out of that 8th spot in the East to basically, the 3rd place in the Atlantic and kind of, nipping on the heels of Toronto and Florida in the Atlantic. So right now they're feeling really good about themselves. They're feeling really good about their game. I think that earlier in the season, they probably thought that they had played better than maybe, the results that they got. And I think now they're seeing that. So they're a pretty confident team right now. And, like you said, they're kind of, if there's a part in their schedule now where they're playing these games at home, they got Seattle on Sunday on the back end of a back-to-back. They're getting Edmonton, obviously, 3rd game in 4 nights. So, all that's kind of looking up for them as well in terms of the little things that kind of help you.
Eduardo, Hernan here. It sounds like they're going to go 11-7. Seeing some of the Tampa Bay media throwing that out there. Is this kind of the norm for John Cooper? Does he go to 11-7 a lot, or is this kind of just like a one-off?
No, he has, and I think there's 2 reasons for it. One is JJ Moser's back in the lineup. He played his first game since I think December 12th. I think was his first game on Sunday. So he's still trying to get minutes on and trying to get back to the system. But also Darren Radish, who's kind of filling in that top pairing spot for Moser. He's played really well. He's played well on the power play for the Lightning. So you can kind of spread out the minutes amongst the D-men. But also, too, for them, it gives them an opportunity to kind of give some of their top skill position players like Nikita Kucherov, and, Brandon Hagel, Braden Point, some double shifting opportunities. And right now, coming out of the break, I think that might help, especially with Kucherov. Kucherov's fresh. He's kind of nipping at the bit. He's kind of one of those guys that they use double shifting on the power play, and he plays a lot of minutes. And he got a good break, so I think. When they want to see, a guy like him on the ice a little bit more, they won't hesitate to go 11-7 for those reasons.
Eduardo Encina joining us now from the Tampa Bay Times as we get you set for the Oilers and the Lightning. Edmonton looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Tampa riding high with a 5-game heater. Eduardo, talking about like the offense that this team possesses in Tampa, you've got 4 guys with over 50 points already, 6 guys with over 40 points. Has there been new chemistry found, or is it just guys feeding off of Kucherov and Braden Point? How would you describe the way this team generates its offense this year?
Yes, I think that the one big thing is that they've gotten just a lot better on both sides of the puck in 5-on-5. I think that was one thing that was a little bit lacking last year. And to be honest, I think a big part of that is bringing in Jake Gensel. He's been around. He's a guy that he's not going to be the fastest skater. He's not going to have the hardest shot, but he just has a knack for finding those soft spots on the ice where he can score and really be a factor. And he's responsible in the defensive end. So I think that's brought in a little bit more responsibility to the top line with Point and Kucherov. And then also, I think a big part has been kind of the continuing improvement of Brandon Hagel and Anthony Cirelli and on that second line and playing together. They've developed a great chemistry. I mean, You guys saw it in the Four Nations, and just those guys are almost like one person right now. They just know exactly where each other is, and they do it on the power play. They do it in 5-on-5. They do it on the PK. So I think you combine those two things, and there's really not amongst that top six. All those guys can score, and they're all playing pretty responsibly. In their two-way games. So I think that's kind of the big thing. Coach John Cooper will always say, good defense leads a good offense, and that's certainly been the case, this season in terms of, getting better 5-on-5 numbers.
Eduardo, who's Cirelli going to see tonight? Is it going to be mostly Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl? And I guess there's a third option because Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch will tend to, if things are not going their way, he'll load them up. But Cirelli, if Leon and McDavid play the whole game on separate lines, who is he going to face?
That's a tough question. I mean, like the Cirelli line is pretty much gone on the matchup line. I would think they'd go on the McDavid line. I think that right now, but I mean, I think Cooper is one that will switch it up. He's never really locked in, and to be honest, he won't hesitate to switch up his own lines either. To try to get that matchup. Obviously, playing at home, you get that last shot at putting him out, and I think that I think we might see him on both lines. I think. Depending on how the pace of the game goes, if you see one of those guys or one of those lines kind of dictate the pace, I wouldn't be surprised to see that Cirelli line go towards that line because Cooper's definitely a guy that like you said, you saw it in the Four Nations. He doesn't hesitate to switch up his lineup and switch up the matchups along as the game goes along. He's got such a good feel for it in game and the way that and he trusts his players, and even if he's got to switch something up, he trusts them to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think Eduardo is right when it comes to Cirelli, especially Hagel as well. New level of respect in Canada for those two and what they bring to the table. All right, Eduardo, there's not a lot of real holes on this Lightning team. They're good offensively. We talked about that. Their special teams are pretty good. Heading into action tonight, fifth best power play, 10th best PK. They've scored 10 shorthanded goals, which is second most in the NHL. They've got an all-world goalie. What, if any, weaknesses does this year's Tampa Bay Lightning team have?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, and this has improved over the course of the past 7 games as they've gotten more wins. Yeah, I think they'd like to see a little bit more depth scoring. I think that once you look beyond those 6 guys that we talked about, that top 6 forward group, there is a little bit, where who scores after that. So, but they've gotten a little bit more the past few games. When Nick Paul plays up in on the second line, isn't the third line center, which has happened and especially recently. You do kind of wonder where those goals are coming from. So you want to get a little bit more from guys like Mitchell Chaffee, Luke Glendening, guys like that who are guys who can score and have scored in their careers, especially when it comes down to the postseason and down the stretch when maybe some of these star players are getting locked down a little bit, when the focus is on, hey, how do you stop the Stars? And I think that's something that they're going to be looking on at the trade deadline coming up and just kind of trying to find that, that missing piece over the course of the season into the postseason. Because this team knows, I think a couple years ago when they won the Stanley Cup, that third line that they had, Yanni Gourde, Blake Coleman, Barclay Goodrow, they weren't great scorers per se, but they dictated the pace of the game and they gave you offense when you needed it, and especially, down the stretch in the postseason. I think that's kind of what they're looking for as they go down the stretch here.
Great point. Eduardo, this has been fantastic. Really appreciate the information. And thanks for the time. Enjoy the game tonight, my friend.
Anytime. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
That is Eduardo Encina from the Tampa Bay Times. Really good information there from Eduardo. First time having him on. He was great.
He's great. He's a big baseball guy.
Is he? Have you talked to Eduardo before?
No, I've reached out and he hasn't been able to, but his Twitter profile says astronaut in training. I don't know if that's and then he says if you can't find him covering sports, he's at he's swinging the bat, buddy. He's at a batting cage or whatever. So yeah, he was great, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He's in the right state and town to be swinging a bat all times of the year. Although I think I saw Jack Michaels and Louis DeBrusque golfing with Dave Randorf yesterday. It looked cold and rainy, so that's too bad for them, but they still got out there and swung the sticks. And spring training, Grapefruit League is always great to check out. So yeah, don't blame Eduardo for being passionate about baseball. and then hockey in the winter.
Greg, the sound guy. Damn, Hernan, you doing okay, buddy? The cold going around is rough and is quick. I'm on my ass right now. Hang in there, Greg, the sound guy. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I just got to power through here. Tom, I wanted to ask you this.
Yep.
So, Ville Husso gets moved yesterday, and Twitter blew up here in Edmonton, and you know why? Because John
shocking.
Gibson. Is there something to it? Like, have you dug in? Or I know you're under the weather, and you're probably just trying to relax before the show, but I mean, it is interesting, and it poses the question. And now they're saying that Gibson's injury is not long-term. So are you kind of, they might move on. And I'm not saying necessarily Edmonton. There's other teams that need goaltenders too and would want John Gibson. But what's your gut telling you right now with this?
I haven't followed up too much. Yesterday I was not in good shape, and then today's been kind of a foggy haze too, just with this cold. So the only thing that I could point to, I haven't reached out to anybody and asked them. I don't think the intention is to go get a goalie. Would they be curious if these guys continue to falter? Absolutely. They want to win the Stanley Cup this year. And then Frank, I think that's why I retweeted Frank. Like that he put it out there yesterday. I'll read it right now. He said, "There's no dot to connect between Ville Husso trade to Anaheim and a potential John Gibson trade. In AHL San Diego, Kalle Klang is out month to month, and Oscar Dansk is only other goalie with experience. They want San Diego to make playoffs.
Okay.
Gibson expected back this week."
Okay,
So,
that's fair. Yeah.
I think that was Frank saying it without just being like, "No, Edmonton," or "No to other markets. Don't expect this to happen." That was my interpretation. Obviously, we've got, like you said, a little bit of time before the deadline, but I don't think they're going to make a trade. And so I think
it's a long shot,
and out of their butts.
I think it's a long shot, Tom. Because I know Bowman said no to Ciravelli when he asked, but Bowman's never going to tip his hand. Like, let's be honest here. Like, let's call it how it is.
Spec too, and didn't really give a ton on Spec. Spec knows how to read GMs. He's been around for over 30 years, and his hunch from talking to Bowman was that that's not the plan to go after a goalie either. So, kind of read the tea leaves, and it's to the chagrin of a lot of fans. And I guarantee you, in the next 10 days, somebody's going to put it out there. "Oh, I'm hearing the Oilers are interested in this goalie." Then everybody's going to get into a frenzy, and people are going, "Why didn't you know about this?" Why? Because it wasn't going to happen. But somebody always puts something out there, and it's just that little line in the water, and someone always takes the bait. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, and with the clarification with Ciravelli, and that's why he's really good at his job, because he kind of stopped that rumor mill right away. Like, this is not a move because Gibson's getting moved. Now, we still have over a week, Tom. Anything could happen. Oilers staff can change their minds. They sure can. We'll see what happens here. But it is interesting. The goaltending has become quite the story here, and especially after those last two games. So Sarah says, read your tea leaves, people. But again, like, just because they picked up Husso doesn't mean Gibson's on the way out. You brought up the AHL. They want to make the playoffs. They want to make a run.
But just need guys that are healthy. They only have Oscar Dansk right now.
And it cost them nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, not nothing, but you know what I mean. Like, nothing.
Well, honestly, future considerations is essentially nothing.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, but yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's it's just fascinating, man. I'm at a loss for words. I'm a little dizzy right now, but
get some emergency in you. Oh, Gatorade, I like it. Get those electrolytes up.
Tommy and Hernan powering through like MJ.
Yeah, I feel okay.
LeBron would have called in sick, but
well, I didn't. If I was there today, I would make everybody sick. That's how bad it was. So, we've got about 4 minutes left. We're going to hand things back off to Reid and Jay to wrap up the Reid Wilkins Show with Ice Koob. I do have this text I want to get to. It's from Mary. Hello, Twitter Mary. She says it's 7 p.m. in my time zone, South Hill, Virginia, but feels like home watching you guys on the pregame show. Hope the postgame show is full of happy nasties. Signed, Twitter Mary. I hope so too, Twitter Mary, because the past weekend, like, it was fun, but my goodness, Hernan and I had to look at each other after those shows, and we were just like, man.
And we're both fighting something.
Yeah.
Koob, can you put up my board, please?
Oh, you've got a little something here?
I'll just play this the whole night if the Oilers
I can't take it anymore.
This is like an anaconda taking down a pig.
That's what it might be if the Oilers lose this one tonight, Tom. What are you looking for, Tom? Obviously, Cass brought it up. Every show's here talked about it. You want to see them show up, play like the way they're supposed to. But is there a little thing intangible that you're looking at? I'm looking at Stuart Skinner's body language. And
you're looking at Stu Skinner's body language.
Yeah,
That's
what's something you're going to look at, or a certain player?
I'm going to, as a whole, just like how they move the puck in the D zone and the neutral zone.
Yeah.
To me, that's going to be super important because if they're sloppy again and they're on their heels most of the night in their own zone, I think Tampa is just going to shred them the same way Washington and sadly Philadelphia did. Yeah. Now, if I think that they've woken up and they show up like Cass brought up in Game Changers tonight, I think they're going to be okay because this team has proven that they can end slides this season. They have proven that they can play with some of the best teams in the league. They were one of the best teams in the league up until that loss against Washington. They're still top 10. I think they're 7th when I checked yesterday. Maybe they've dropped down a little bit more, but they're right there. And, 2 games shows you how much or how little room for error there is. And they can't continue to falter. And you know what? So how they move the puck to me is very important, Hernan.
Yeah.
From the D on out to the forwards. Hey, pick up your guy in your zone. Pick up your guy in your zone. Just do it.
Don't do flybys. We showed some on the highlights, lowlights, and it wasn't fourth line guys. And no disrespect to them. It was Connor McDavid. It was John Klingberg doing flybys, Tom. Like, and everybody was hard on Darnell Nurse on that 5th goal, but he was the only one trying to get in front of it, and he had 4 guys to deal with.
Yeah, that just summed up the afternoon for sure. If your goalie kicks out a save and the rebound's juicy, maybe be in position so you could try to tie up a stick because sometimes that happens. The other thing too is Hernan. I don't think we see Connor McDavid go -3 for a 4th consecutive game. He's got 2 assists and he's -11 in his last 4 games. That is unbelievably rare for him. I don't think he's ever done. Well, no, he hasn't because like Brian Swain sent us. Brian Swain is a huge stats guy. McDavid's the first Oiler in franchise history to go -3 in 3 straight games.
That's crazy. And I know people kept bringing it up that he's only +4 on the season, and he's having a pretty good offensive season, Tom. That should tell you everything you need to know about this team's defensive play right now and throughout some of the. Because even when they were playing well and they were winning, they were still giving up goals, Tom. Like there was still some poor play there. But Tommy, this has been fun. We'll chat in a bit. We got to get the boys back. Everybody's texting me, get Reid on. So.
Oh, you want Reid on? Okay, I get it. Rob from the Grove says, Tom, question everybody wants to know is, are you business on top, shorts on the bottom? Great show, guys. No, Rob, all business. All right, coming up next, the final half hour of the Reid Wilkins Show with Jay Milne and Ice Koob. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Big thanks to Eduardo Encina, for Cass and Hernan. I'm Tom saying we'll see you after the Oilers and the Lightning. Ciao for now.
The EST Hangout.
The reason I would have time for Jonathan Quick, having him around Skinner to help him go through what it takes to get over the hump to actually win it. There's a guy that could sit there and knows what it's like. And how many people can Stuart Skinner actually go talk to that know what it's like to be in that moment?
Corey Perry, but without the pads on, I guess.
Very different.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Wholesat, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
You want the heavy hitters on your team, both on and off the ice. If you've been injured in a car accident, call the heavy hitters of injury law. James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta Injury Lawyers. With over 200 years of combined injury law experience, their precedent-setting lawyers are ready to help. Locally owned and proud Edmonton Oilers fans, James H. Brown and Associates wants to support you with their unrivaled experience, unrivaled results, and unrivaled commitment. When accidents happen, head to jameshbrown.com.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Love is in the air.
I love you.
And you? And you? And you! Why choose between your beloved items? Sentinel Storage, keeping your treasures safe to be loved again. Try 4 weeks free. Details at sentinelstorage.ca.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric.
Jamie McLennan. Skinner has to be better. He's been wildly inconsistent. 71st in goals saved above expectation this year, which is terrible. And to me, if you're going to bring somebody in, you have to bring somebody in who challenges for minutes. I do believe it's somebody like Husso, Vamelka maybe. You're not trading for Vasilevsky or Shesterkin. They're just not available.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric, presented by Southport Chevrolet. Weekday mornings 6 to 9, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
The Canadian Brewhouse wing flavors of the month are going head-to-head. Spicy Dill 2.0 versus Bang Bang Sauce. Head to the Canadian Brewhouse for wing night to cast your vote. Great wings, cold drinks, and an atmosphere you won't forget. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Your home for live music and great performances is the River Cree Resort and Casino. Don't miss the internationally recognized tribute, the Alan Jackson Experience, April 18th at the River Cree Resort and Casino. Get your tickets at rivercreeresort.com. River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement? Bet on.
Okay, great job by Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas on the Oil Stream pregame show. Oilers and Lightning about to face off. We'll keep you updated on that one as Jay and I return to take you until 6 o'clock. Got to catch up on some limericks. My goodness, people have been good with the limericks today. Gavin writing in, this is a limerick for Reid, a stickler for cadence indeed. Keep line 4 tight, 5-2 makes it right. Batman once said, do you bleed?
Nice.
That's my best Batman voice. The Big Uke, player of the day, tough to get. Can the Oil keep the puck out of their net? Text line down, sad face frown. When in a lightning storm, Wilkins won't fret. All right. Well, then the text line is not down. We
it's
just
not
couldn't
down.
reply.
I just can't reply.
Do we have an update, by the way, on the mystery athlete, the
Yes.
Hudson's Canada's Pub mystery athlete of the game? It was Jonathan Quick.
So hand up, I mistakenly declared Mex Bezozu as the winner. But then I got a note. We were sitting down in the bullpen. Rob from the Grove reached out and he said, Jay, are you sure he got it before me? I sent it in at 4:17. So he had sent one and I missed it. And I felt so bad. So I had to come get the EST phone. And I called both parties involved. Mex was gracious in accepting the facts. And Rob from the Grove, congrats, my friend. You are the winner of the Hudson's $25 gift card. Koob has updated that in the system. Rob, you know where we are and when we're here. So congrats. Rob from the Grove was the winner. Jonathan Quick.
Clues were Bend, Manchester, LA, 32, and goalie. People were convinced it was David Beckham. It wasn't David Beckham. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well,
that's why you got to... Well, you can guess whatever you want, but it's usually not clear until we get to the fifth and final clue. That's all I'm saying. There was a movie named Bend It Like Beckham, eh? I did know that.
Hey, I can respond to text now.
Oh, it's back. Okay.
It's back.
Sweet.
So somebody in the chat said Hernan can respond to text, but Jake can. Oh, it's Matt Hyman.
Oh, so we're laughing.
It was not working earlier, so good. I'm happy. I'm back, baby.
I saw someone said, "Come on, Reid, you worked at Blockbuster and haven't heard of Bend It Like Beckham." First of all, I have heard of and seen Bend It Like Beckham. Probably that person probably knew I was joking around. But Bend It Like Beckham came out in 2002. I stopped working at Blockbuster Video in 1998.
So that foils that
theory.
theory.
So that foils that theory.
Yeah.
Foiled again, Moriarty.
Yeah. It is, we can't just give you the easy ones. We might lead you down a path.
Yeah.
Where you think you're calling me names and saying you're wrong. It is this person. It is David Beckham.
No, did Jay knew who it was?
I did. Yeah. I generally do.
But it created some excitement.
It did.
It's like something in the air tonight. That's Dustin Nielsen earlier today recreating when the drums come in and Something in the Air Tonight by Phil Collins.
How are we looking over there, Koob?
Sounds exactly like him. Let's do, hang on, Jay, one more limerick. We got to catch up on these. This one is from Jesse. A thunderstorm left Mama Wilkins flush red. Little Jingles jumped into Reid's bed. Like hesitators are pleasure delayors. I hope Skins stands on his head. That's pretty good.
That is very good.
That's pretty good. So I think I had, five limericks today? 4 limericks? Good limerick participation. Really appreciate that. Matt Hyman says, I, similar to a couple of others, was convinced it was Bend, Oregon, which, well, I won't say anything about that one because maybe that could, I just won't say anything. I don't want to be, I could have been making you think it was this athlete because of this, this, and this. I got to save that. I can't give away future possible Hudson's Canada's Pubs Mystery Athlete of the Day. Okay, we got to spend a few minutes with one of Edmonton's all-time great athletes.
Just hold on.
No, not quite yet? Okay. I think she's standing by, literally ready to go somewhere important.
I believe she's heading to her nephew's basketball game.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we got a few minutes over. The Oilers and Lightning, by the way, are just starting the anthem. So we have that one coming up. We'll keep you updated. We're with you till 6 o'clock. Katherine Plouffe is here. Katherine, it's Reid and Jay.
How's it going today, Katherine?
Guys. How are you doing? I'm doing great. How are you?
So you're on your way to your nephew's basketball game, correct?
Yes, the most important game of the year.
Okay. Well, we won't keep you long. We did want to tell everybody because Thursday and Friday in the city of Edmonton, at least, that is Professional Development Day for teachers. Children are off, and you and your sister, part of Plouffe Hoops, have teamed up with the Stingers. What you guys got going on?
Yes, we have an all-girls camp that we are collaborating with the Stingers with in part of their Building Bridges initiative. And so we're bringing Plouffe Hoops to the Stingers organization. So we're super excited. It's going to be for 8 to 12-year-old girls and then 13 to 17-year-old girls on that Thursday and Friday during Teachers Convention.
Okay, so that's this Friday, Thursday, Friday, the 27th, 28th. Now, the 9 to 12-year-olds, the sessions are 8 to noon, and then the 1 to 4 session, is for ages 13 to 17. What are you going to be focusing on for this 2-day camp? What do you want kids to come there and come out with?
Great question. Hopefully some skills we can teach them, equip them with. For the younger group, it's both ages. They're welcome for all skill levels. We're just excited about getting in the girls' community and being a presence and building relationships there. But we're going to do some 3-on-3, hopefully. Obviously, this applies to 5-on-5 principles as well, but teaching them some skills, some mindset, just having fun while working hard.
Now, as you know, I'm fully supportive of this because you come to some of my daughter's games and support them, and that means a lot to us. What do you find as and obviously you're doing this with girls, and you guys have had a very successful career. What do you feel young hoopsters are I guess focusing on, or what should they be focusing on compared to, hey, I just want to shoot threes or I want to do a reverse layup? Do you feel fundamentals have been lost in the shuffle here over, since you've come up in the game?
Yeah, I do. I think the focus has been a little bit different depending on what gets the most highlights. I think that's a part of it.
Yeah.
For example, I was just chatting with, I forget who I was chatting with more recently about, like true point guards maybe 20 years ago. Their passing was a very highly valuable skill, and maybe it just doesn't get the attention as much as shooting threes or, going one-on-one with some crazy moves. And so I would love to see players come up with like great passing skills. I love playing with point guards and teammates who were phenomenal passers because that's a part of a sport either way. And one of the things that Michelle and I saw when we were playing on the national team was when someone scored a bucket, they would, especially I remember this from Kim Gaucher, she would always be pointing to the person who passed her the ball for that bucket. And so that's something that I took to my game too, because I saw the value in having someone passing the ball for a score, but also being a contributing part of whoever got the ball for scoring. So passing, definitely a skill I would like to see improved overall.
If somebody's listening right now, is there still room in these camps that you're aware of?
Yes, there is still room for both age groups. The younger age group filling up a little bit more quickly, but room for all who can make it.
Okay, Katherine, thank you for jumping on. Get to your nephew's. Reid, sorry.
I just want to ask you one question. I know you got to get to the game.
Because
you're working with kids ages 8 to 17, and it's so awesome that you and Michelle do that. When you were that age, like maybe especially in that around 10 years old, who was mentoring you? Who do you look back on?
Great question. That's a great question. From at a younger age, we had a coach that really taught us the fundamentals. Shout out to Mr. Buddy Mauricio. He taught us a lot about. You know what? I'm actually not sure the exact skill set we learned in basketball skills. Probably a lot, but also a lot of the fundamental character that was required to be on a team. Like being responsible, so that you had the privilege of playing on a school team, showing up on time, working hard, giving your best efforts. Those are part of the fundamentals that maybe aren't talked about either as much, but they're fundamental to being successful in anything. And of course, our older sister and our older sibling, both our brothers as well, they played sports, and so we were looking up to them and just watching them pursue, working hard in all their sport endeavors as well. So I think it's important to have those people in your corner, just to look up to. That's why I think I value a lot just being in the community. So just lift the lid off of, what a girl might want to do playing sports. You can see that, not everyone has to go play professional basketball, but it's possible if you choose to.
Yeah. Well, you and Michelle are great, and obviously you're great role models and continue to be outstanding basketball players with all the 3x3 success. Thanks for hopping on. We'll let you get to your game.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time here.
Katherine Plouffe, join us for the camps Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday. If you're interested, it also includes a voucher for our Stingers home game as well as a camp T-shirt. You go to the Stingers website, stingers.ca, and look for the all-girls camp there.
I've been lucky enough, and you've known them as well, and I've been lucky enough to interview Michelle and Katherine for probably over a decade now. And, they made it and are continuing. I mean, they're not done playing, though, maybe they're a little closer to the end than they were a few years ago. But, they made it. And I wonder now what the next generation of female basketball players coming out of Edmonton will look like.
Sure.
And sometimes it's not immediate, but now we see more Canadian men in the NBA.
Yes.
How much of that was that Steve Nash impact? And I love how Katherine put it, that her and Michelle are going to emphasize a lot of fundamental things. And like, how important is that, right? To hear it. Like, it's one thing for, if you and I went and coach some kids and we're like, hey, you got to know your footwork. And they'd be like, okay, whatever. I just want to shoot threes. But if Katherine and Michelle Plouffe can say, hey, I know we can make fancy plays, and we've played in the Olympics, and we've been 3x3 champions, but you need to learn we can do all the higher end stuff because we learned all these simple things when we were your age. Like, that's such a valuable message coming from players of their caliber.
100%. And I like having that camp the way it is, an all girls camp, focused on that, focused on them. And what better to Edmontonians to be hosting that?
Great to have Katherine on. Of course, we'll continue following her and Michelle. Minute 24 into the game, no score. Oilers in Tampa Bay. About 20 seconds in, Evan Bouchard tried to pass up the right wing from behind his own net, and it was knocked down, and the Lightning got a pass across the slot and a one-time opportunity, and Stuart Skinner came across and made the save. So, yes, I already saw in the nasty chat another Bouch turnover, but Stuart Skinner, who's been talked about a lot the last couple of days, came up with the stop. Of course, portions of this hour presented by Canadian Brewhouse. UFC lives at the Canadian Brewhouse. UFC 313, March 8th. The most TVs, epic food, drinks, and a wild atmosphere. Don't miss it. The Canadian Brewhouse. Our house is your house. All right. Should we get our break in now?
Let's get the break.
We better get the break in now. Quick, one final
Reid's
update
top
from
three,
Koob.
quick.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do the top three and a couple words of the day. Go ahead, Koob.
Just about 2 minutes into the game, it's 0-0 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Oilers, as the Oilers look to snap their 3-game losing streak, and the NHL has 5 total active games around the league. Maple Leafs trailing 2-0 to the Bruins nearing the end of 20. The Flames up 1-0 over the Caps in the first, while the Canadians have the only 2 goals in their game with the Hurricanes with under 2 to go in the first frame. And the WHL sees the Oil Kings hit the ice with the Warriors. Lethbridge meeting Saskatoon before the Cougars and Rockets duke it out on a 3-game slate. On the court, Toronto is down 35-30 early in the second to Boston, while the Cavs are up 8-5 early on the Magic. Before it's the Mavs and Lakers going at it, seeing Luka Doncic play his first game against his former team in Dallas. We also have the Suns and Grizzlies going at it, having 7 games around the association. The sports update is brought to you by Sit and Sleep. Transform your home at a fraction of the cost during Sit and Sleep's winter clearance event. From massive discounts on major sleep brands to unbeatable deals on Canadian-made custom furniture, Sit and Sleep's winter clearance event is a can't miss. Plus, enjoy free local white glove delivery and special financing offers to help you bring home the best. Visit Sit and Sleep today in South Edmonton. And the final segment of the Reid Wilkins Show brings us back on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubusch, and you're up to date.
Pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Whether it's breaking down the starting lineup, predicting key matchups, or diving deep into the game's biggest moments, Tom and Hernan are here to give you the best insight and analysis in the city. After the final horn, get the breakdown of every key moment, performance, and player reactions. It's your one-stop shop for all things game day. Catch the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame and postgame shows with Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Food Sausages makes their meat with nothing but the best local ingredients. From chicken, beef, and pork, their gluten-free sausages are packed with flavor. Every single bite. Get a 10% discount when mentioning Edmonton Sports Talk in-store or use the code EST when shopping online at foodsausages.ca. Plus, you get free delivery on orders of $100 or more. Find them at 6736 99th Street. Food Sausages. You can't beat our meat.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Yeah, Stu Skinner has made a couple really good saves early in this game. I talked about him stopping a one-timer off a turnover, and then Tampa Bay tried a shot from the top of the circle, and it got deflected and went to Skinner's left, and Hagel was right there and one-timed it, and Skinner moved across to make the save. The Oilers now have a 2-on-1, and it is Podkolzin having his pass blocked by Hedman. It was actually Bouchard and Podkolzin in on the 2-on-1, and now the Lightning have a 2-on-1 the other way. And Brendan Point has his shot blocked.
Good job by Savoy on the back.
He's actually, him and Draisaitl.
He's been noticeable in a good way thus far.
So no score almost 5 minutes into the first period. Time for our top three. Reid's top three for food. Sausage. The best sausages you will ever eat, locally made, packed full of flavor. Order online or visit them in store, 6736 99th Street. Take advantage of their EST discount. 10% off your order by entering the online code EST or just mention EST in store. As Food Sausage says, you can't beat our meat. It is my top three fun facts about Lightning. All right?
Very good.
And I think you'll like these, Jay.
Okay,
so I mentioned in the first half of our show, the first portion of our show, that I was looking up facts about lightning, and I won't hit everybody with the numbers, but people can Google this themselves. But lightning hits the earth a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And it doesn't mean there's people around, but it hits the earth a lot. Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela has the most lightning strikes in the world at 28 per minute.
What?
Now, that's the average. And I was reading, apparently there are thunderstorms over this lake that can last for several hours. So the average is 28 per minute.
Cheap.
Yeah.
That's
so it's
a fun
not
fact.
every minute, but when they have these extended storms, it's probably every few seconds or something like that. All right?
That's an interesting one. I give you credit.
It is also my number two for food sausage. Fun facts about lightning. True or false? Lightning never strikes the same place twice.
True.
It is false. It is a myth that lightning never strikes the same place twice.
See, I thought you were trying to trick me into tricking myself, which I didn't.
You overthought it.
I did.
For example, the Empire State Building is hit by lightning about 23 times per year.
Well, when you put it that way, Reid, it's a metal rod sticking up in the air.
It certainly is, but still, it's a place that could get hit more than once by lightning.
Color me embarrassed.
And then my third fun fact about lightning is about the Tampa Bay Lightning. Do you know who scored their first goal in franchise history?
I do not.
It was in a 7-3 win over Chicago at the start of the 92-93 season. Chris Kontos, remember him?
Of course.
Not only did he score the Lightning's first goal, he scored 4 goals in that game. A 7-3 win over Chicago. But remember, Lightning fans new to hockey must have been like, how did we get the best player in the league as an expansion team?
Wow.
He just got 4 goals in a game. So those are my fun facts about Lightning presented
Winning
by
Stanley Cups
Food
is
Sausage.
easy.
Nice.
I had one fun fact about White Lightning, but we'll have to save that for another day.
The movie or the beverage?
The bevy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, here we go.
Word of the day with Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they gotta say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying.
Okay, the first word of the day is superfluous. Superfluous.
You gave me this one before.
No, I didn't.
Seriously?
Dead serious.
Okay.
If I did, my mom will tell me.
Well, I was I was
writes down
reading
all the
something.
words.
I was reading something today, or maybe I had a trivia question because I do a little online trivia game every morning. I do tightrope. Superfluous. SUPERFLUOUS. And superfluous means extra or excessive to the point of being unnecessary. You know, like after I spent 5 minutes insulting the Koob, it was superfluous for me to then throw his lunch in the garbage.
Yes, you. 2 for 2.
I wouldn't do that to you, Koob.
You wouldn't do that to Koob.
Unless your food was moldy and expired. Then I would say, like, you're throwing this out.
So this is the battle of the uous words. Okay. Superfluous. Tempestuous. Tempestuous.
Okay. Tempestuous?
Yeah. You know, I got one job on this, and it's to not play what Koob's playing right now. And I jumped Koob, I apologize.
No, that's all good. It's my job to play it.
Do you forgive me?
Yes. And it runs for 15 minutes. So
no.
Yeah.
Tempestuous. It's an adjective.
I think, I know what it means. I actually have trouble spelling it. TEMPESTUOUS. And tempestuous is to mean having a sort of conflict-filled, volatile. It's like a kind of a volatile, rocky, up and down situation. For example, you could say that Connor McDavid and Connor Garland have a tempestuous relationship.
You know what, Reid? I'm gonna.
Yeah, well, of course, that's the right answer.
It's just you didn't nail it enough. I really wanted you to go 4 for 4, like out of the book. Yeah, it's tumultuous or turbulent.
Yeah.
4 for 4.
Yeah, I pretty much said that. I think.
Have you done that?
I don't think so, but I definitely
word?
I knew both those. Though I didn't nail the explanation of the definition of tempestuous, but I think I demonstrated I knew what it meant.
Yes,
and
you
superfluous, I have used that word on this show for sure.
Well,
I like using that word every once in a while.
Should use it more often. What was the definition of superfluous?
Kind of like extra to the point of being unnecessary, right? Like
too much.
Well, I don't know if you read the exact definition, but it would be like
formal word used to describe things that exceed what is necessary or sufficient.
Right. Like
further discussion seems superfluous given the thorough conversation we just had.
It'd be something like Reid's pink shoelaces were superfluous given his pink pants.
Ooh.
Or something like that.
Very good.
Yeah. Like how much pink do you need? Sarah says after Tom wore short shorts, it was superfluous to put on a Speedo. I guess that's
very well done.
I suppose that's
you get 2 points.
Pretty good. All right. You know who else liked that one?
I wonder what Sammy Hagar thought about it. He gave that 5.5 out of 10.
5.5 out of 10. That's all.
Jeez.
55 out of 100. All right, we got to go. We're 8.5 minutes into the first period. No score, Oilers and Lightning. The shots are 6-6. Like I said, Stuart Skinner made a couple really good saves in the first 4 minutes of this game. Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas, Matt Kassian will be back after the game for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. And then, of course, our day starts tomorrow at 6 a.m. with the Nielsen Show. Jay and I are back at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We will speak with you then. Thanks a lot for listening and or watching.
Talk delivers a mass audience of key influential customers to your business, all while you associate your company brand with the biggest names, the hottest sports news, and teams from every league around the globe. Oilers and Elks, NHL, NFL, Major League Baseball, and the association, Formula One, soccer, golf, oh sweet mama! The excitement is palatable on Edmonton Sports Talk. It's where fans go to get their sports fix and where our partners find the most loyal consumers. Contact us today and see how our team on Edmonton Sports Talk can score the biggest goals for your business. With various advertising options available, email business@edmontonsportstalk.com or head to our website and send a message at edmontonsportstalk.com.